The next pattern that we're looking at is the scatter pattern or the random pattern. And this isn't always taught by certain teachers because it doesn't fall into the category of the 5 patterns of the branch, spiral, lobe, and so on that are quite clear and cut and dry. The scatter pattern is much more varying in how it shows itself, but it is often the one that we will see more frequently in the pattern understanding of a landscape that we'll be doing as a designer. If we look at the example that is in front of us, we're looking at a beach in Australia, and you can see for scale reference my footprint there. So this example is of these small beads of sand that roll up on the surface of the beach. And when I was first looking at this, way back in 2010, I was looking at it and thinking, what is going on here? I see this everywhere along this beach, and I didn't quite understand what was happening. So I speculated that maybe it's the waves that are rolling in the sand and that are causing these little balls of sand to roll up, and because of this little rock here, that is causing the balls of sand to deposit around the rock because the rock is slowing the wave flow and therefore reducing the sediment that can be held by the water, so depositing it here, right? Maybe. Anyway, moving along, went to another beach a few days later in Australia, and I found the exact same pattern, except there was no rock. So now I had to rehash my entire hypothesis, and I had made another observation, which is much clearer in this image. You can see the tiny little hole that is actually the exit hole for the clam that is beneath this sand. And these little balls of sand are balls of sand and saliva that the clam has spit up and out of the hole as it is cleaning or digging deeper down into the sand. So totally different result of the observation by continually seeing different iterations of it. But now I know that this pattern of sand when I'm walking on the beach means that there are clams below. So if you're hungry, that's a good thing to know, but it's also just a different way of seeing patterns on the landscape that are a result of the species that are present in that ecosystem. Here we have an example of the capsid bug and the way that it damages the leaves of this plant. You can see that the damage is varied. It's not all identical, but it has a pattern, it has a flavor, and that is the random pattern of the damage on this leaf from the capsid bug. So each insect will have a different type of random pattern of the way that it damages a leaf. So if you get good at this, you'll be able to see damage on a leaf and say, oh, that's a slug, or that's eelworm, or that's a capsid bug. And these are the patterns that are going to start to build your repertoire and your ability to observe a landscape and understand what's going on in that landscape. Here we have another example of leaf damage. This is the eelworm. As you can see, it's a very different but distinct pattern, and none of the damage is identical, but it all has that pattern or that flavor that is quite similar. So you're going to, in many of your observations in the landscape, be observing patterns that are in this random pattern category. Not everything and most of things are not spiral or branch or network or lobe, but they do have information to tell us about relationships in that specific ecosystem.